great.
Good morning, welcome to UKSG, good morning to you. Hello everybody, welcome back to UKSG Green 2025. This evening we're raising money for Crisis. You can donate with the links below the stream. We would also like to shout out to BSG for their continued support. Now, before we get things underway, I just want to remind people, in case they aren't aware, that when it comes to incentives, we have already met the Hatsune Miku replaces chip incentive for the Sonic Unleashed recomp, which is fantastic, so no worries about that. The only incentives we have to worry about going forward is the character choice for Sonic Mania, which currently Amy Rose is winning, very nice, and the Diddy Kong Racing final boss character choice, which currently Conker is winning, but it's all very early days. You can donate if you want your favorite character to appear there. Now, before we get this run started, I only have one question for you all. Are you ready? I said, are you ready? Then, with the many awesome peeps in attendance and the hundreds watching all around the world, let's get ready to speedrun! Up first, with Stray any percent, we have Draiga! Take it away!
Okay, I wasn't prepared for such an enthusiastic intro. It is quite early in the morning, I'm still waking up. But yeah, hi everyone, I'm Draiga. I'm going to be running Stray any percent. Yeah, I mean, that's the instructions. Let's just get going. I'm going to start a new game, and let's do timing will start in 3, 2, 1, and go. Okie dokie, so we start off here in the intro sequence. We are playing obviously as a cat, and we start off surrounded by all of our cat friends. And I'm sure that that's just what the game's about. It's just us hanging out with our cat friends, and I'm sure nothing bad could possibly ever happen to us or our cat friends. This beginning section is just going to be an introduction to some basic movement. So we have 3 cats here that we have to interact with. The fastest route to interact with them is to go to the cat on the right, then the cat on the far side from us, and then go to the back cat on the left. So let's do that. All of the cats have these unique animations, which I have 2 cats myself, and I can confirm these are cat lore accurate. And then once we interact with this final cat, the first skip of the run is going to come up called Nap Skip. But first of all, this cat actually has something for chat, has a little gift for everybody. Hi there. There we go. That's nice, okay. Hope everybody is nice and clean for the run now. And so the game wants us to go and nap with the rest of the cats over there. We are not going to be doing that. As soon as the prompt to appear as soon as the prompt to do that appears, we're going to go up on this slope and then interact with this. And that gets us stuck in an endless loop like this. And so we're not actually in the position to nap, and as the cutscene is meant to be playing, the game just sort of doesn't know what to do. It just throws us back out and gives us control again, which lets us clip through that pipe, land down here, and then go back in bounds to skip the entire, it's about a 1.5-minute intro cutscene that we skip. And we are introduced to the most important button in the game, which is the dedicated meow button, which I honestly think all games, regardless of if they have cats, I think every game should have a dedicated meow button. And this is also a good time to introduce a very important feature throughout the run, which is the Stray macro. So speedruns of this game allow a macro, which So I currently have meow on mouse wheel down, and I have a button to do 2,000 mouse scroll wheels per second, which in effect allows me to do 2,000 meows a second just by holding down a particular button. And this serves a couple of different functions throughout the run, which we'll see. This is just an introduction to some basic platforming stuff. So we have our jump button. A lot of this run, especially the glitchless run, I'm running any percent, but it's still important to any percent. It's just optimized movements and you know cutting corners and getting jumps off as soon as possible. So we get onto this pipe, get down here, and then activate the cutscene here. And so our cat friends catch up with us, even though we left them at the beginning area by doing nap skip. As I said, I'm absolutely certain nothing bad could possibly happen. Oh no. Oh dear. It seems tragedy is befalling upon our cats, very unfortunately. So we get separated from our cat friends, and this is when the game proper begins. We fall deep underground here into a underground city, which is where well, pretty much all of the rest of the game takes place. In just a second here, we're going to be introduced to, if you want to call them antagonists, they're the main antagonists of the game, which are these Zerks, which are essentially mutated bacteria that lived in the city long ago. So humans created the city, but some bacteria mutated and sort of drove all of the humans out. And we're just about to see our first Zerk as it scuttles across the ground here. So the city itself is not populated by humans anymore, as we're about to find out. You can see the trash can there moving, and in just a second we should see some Zerks scuttling across the ground. Just like that. This beginning level is just all about optimized platforming, and it's not going to it's not going to look all that impressive, but I can promise you that this level, the second level, is one of the hardest levels to play completely optimally. It has a ton of small details and a ton of small jumps and gaps. There's a very small amount of RNG, but yeah, this level is quite hard to play optimally. So right now, we're just going to be running through here, and we get a big title card introducing us to Dead City, the proper introductions to the game. Get more platforming. And we get some Zerks running away from us. The Zerks are initially afraid of us because we're the first living being in the city in who knows how long, in quite a long time at least. You can see here this game doesn't have any sort of HUD or anything, and where you're meant to go is all explained to you, or you know, you're given directions just through the environment. We have our first puzzle here, which is to pick up the buckets and stop the fan with it. And in true cat fashion, we have to knock down a paint can. And then there's a small skip here where you're meant to knock down this paint can. Oh, I didn't get it, that's unfortunate. But you can actually get a third interact prompt off on the paint can. It like drops you down off the ledge without you having to actually do the usual movement there. Very minor, only saves a second or so. There's going to be a jump scare here, but by holding backwards, you can sort of not get knocked all the way back, and preserve some of your like movement there. Okay, so the Zerks are now gaining confidence against the cats, and this is the first of several chase sequences throughout the game. And this is where the macro really becomes important. So the Zerks can sort of jump onto you, and you can throw them off of you, but the button to throw, like, knock them off of you is the meow button. And so throughout this entire chase, I'm just going to hold down the meow button. And it means that if any Zerks jump onto me, I'm just going to shake them off instantly. And so, yeah, I mean, you can see here, they're just getting shaken off of me instantly. And so the chase is, at least in the speed run, are just walking sections, essentially. In a casual playthrough, these present far more of a threat. But for us speedrunners, they are just about getting to the end as quickly as possible. There's actually an achievement for doing this particular chase without getting without a single Zerk attacking you, which is very hard to do. But that's the end of the first chase sequence. So this upcoming bit of movement has a very small amount of RNG in it. The cat can't actually fall down properly off of these ledges and stuff from a jump prompt, but it can get a stumbling animation, which loses you about a second every time it happens, and for some reason these particular jumps are really bad for getting them. I didn't get any there, which is nice, but I think they're basically random whether or not you get a stumbling animation. You can get them at various points in the game, but those few particular jumps are notorious for them. On and the barrel. So we take this barrel, jump onto it. And get onto here. There's a small chance I can get a boost here. There are some boosts that nobody really understands. And only one of them is consistent, and I didn't get it. There's a small chance you can get a boost there, which also saves about a second, but it's quite rare and is just random to the best of my knowledge. Camera angles affect a lot in this game, and so if you see me doing some sort of weird camera angle change, it's to get a particular jump prompt that I want. It's quite important throughout the run to get optimal jumps. And I'm also going to be, I mean, obviously sprinting everywhere, but sprinting when you jump gets you a slightly faster animation. So all of the times I'm sort of doing stuff like that, that's just so I can get a sprint jump. Okay. And again, in true cat simulator fashion, we stand on some keyboards so that we can input some sort of code here. The actual letters don't matter. The cat just needs to input a certain amount of letters to let us progress to open up this door. And then this bit of movement is my least favorite in the entire run. There are 4 energy things we have to input into these buttons here, and it's like that. They're extremely finicky to get in. You have to be right next to them for you to get the prompt to put them in. But so that's 3, and then what are you doing, cat? And then that's 4. Okay. And we're going to get an animation here where the door opens, but we still retain control in it. We can do a bit of movement whilst the door is opening. And we get introduced to our main companion throughout the game, which is going to be B12, who is a sort of a robot who, well, I mean, initially he's just a robot, but we learn throughout the game that he's actually a scientist who is investigating the bacterial infection, and who implanted his consciousness into this sort of toy robot thing, so that some part of him continues to live on. He has quite a few functions. For us, the important ones are his help function, which is well, it's for some skips that we're going to be doing later on, and importantly, he also can translate all of the text and other things throughout the game. The other big function of the meow button is that it skips dialogue, and so using the macro, we can just skip through dialogue like that without actually having to press the buttons, which is nice. So if you were wanting to like actually like read the dialogue and get all the lore, I'm afraid this is not the run for you. We're just going to be skipping past all of that instantly. As soon as we do this, there's a door with a code coming up, but thankfully it is the same code every time. It is 3748. And then the most important mechanic in the entire game, which is spinning the cats. This is by far the most important skill to get down. I'm not doing it particularly well right now, but with practice you can spin the cats incredibly fast. It is a vitally important skill for the run. And this is the first cutscene skip of the run. So B12 is a help function. So there's a cutscene trigger there which you're meant to activate, but B12 has a help function, and if you press his help function on the exact same frame that the cutscene is meant to start, his help function overrides the cutscene, so you don't actually have to watch it, which is nice. That one isn't a huge deal, but there were some later ones which save much more time. We use the macro for his help function, so that we can do a huge amount of his help function inputs per second, so that we don't actually like have to get it frame perfect kind of thing. Okay, so we can see here we have robots, robot settlers who have taken over the city. They're all running away from the cats. Again, this is the first time they've seen sort of another living being in a very long time. This is usually a big open area with lots to do, lots of side quests and stuff. But this is also home to by far the biggest skip in the entire run. We're going to be skipping 3 whole chapters from here. It is about so the glitchless run for this game is 30 minutes slower than the any % run, give or take, and 20 of those 30 minutes is accounted for by the skip you're about to do. It is, I said, 3 whole chapters we never ever see in the any % run. I need to switch to 30 FPS for this. It's called sleep paralysis, and that's due to the fact that we're going to be making use of some weird geometry with a bed in a building. And so we're going to be glitching out the cat using that. The character we just interacted with is Momo, and he wants us to go and find, I mean, you can sort of see him giving the green light to all of the other robots that we're not a threat, but I said we're not going to be seeing a huge amount of this storyline because we're going to interact with him one more time. He tells us to go off and find some other robots who can help us, but we don't want to do that. We're going to run straight over to this building. We're going to use interact with the door twice to click through it, and then get to this checkpoint and reload it. And then this is so that we can do the sleep paralysis skip correctly. It is quite precise, but the setup for it is consistent with a bit of practice. We're going to get up onto this ledge. We're going to hopefully get a smooth step if the cat wants to cooperate. It does not want to cooperate. There we go. Look backwards. Oh, I don't have I don't have my button set up correctly. Sorry. Oh god, what button is it? Sorry about this. There we go. Okay, look there. It doesn't want to do it. I said it's an extremely precise trick. It's literally 1 pixel that you have to be standing on, but reloading checkpoint here lets you get it. So get up onto the ledge. Hopefully get this small step again like that. Down like that. There we go. So we're now glitching out with the floor by doing that jump, and we can interact with this curtain. Jump out. And so we're now just underneath the floor, we're sort of all glitching out with it. And we head over to this robot. go underneath his legs, which throws us completely out of bounds. Head over here and get through this. So we actually just clipped through a door, which we're not meant to be able to go through yet. And then I need to switch back to 60 FPS. And activate a checkpoint, which this is the checkpoint for 4 chapters from the chapter we were just in. But the game doesn't want to let us progress initially. But we can just restart the checkpoint from or restart the chapter from the main menu, and at that point the game just sort of goes, well, in that case you must have done everything, and we'll let you progress 4 chapters from where you initially were. So yeah, it saves about 20 minutes over the glitchless one. So in the sewers, each level of this game, I mean, here we're now with another character entirely, who we never met, and we're just with him now. Each level of this game sort of has its own gimmick, and the gimmick of this chapter is that we now have we should have a purple light, never mind, which should let us sort of slap away all of the Zerks that are going to be attacking us. Again, in the speedrun, it doesn't matter for us because we can just use the macro and take them all out anyway. But the point of the chapters that we skipped was to construct this light that can zap the Zerks. If you have anything you want to say, this is a really good time for it because it's just an auto-scroller.
No worries. Well, just to remind everyone that we are raising money to support Crisis, a charity supporting people out of homelessness for good. They achieve this through education, training, and support with housing, employment, and health. 90% of your donations will go towards supporting Crisis, and 10% will go towards UKSG's future events. Here's more about what they do in their own words. The Housing Specialist Support Team offers expert advice and support to Crisis members, as well as Crisis staff. Established in 2020, the team has already assisted hundreds of colleagues and thousands of members. They advise on areas including challenges to local authority homelessness decisions, Section 21 notices, support for non-UK nationals, and issues around rent, repairs, and tenancies. For documents and resources, visit our Housing Support Toolkit.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're still on this boat here. If we look up here, we can see this is an extremely Zerk-infested area, and you can see Zerks here, and there's also all sorts of goo and stuff all around the place. Those pipes up there, fun fact, you can actually stand on if you use the trainer tool to get up there, and they have a collision, you can walk around in them and stuff. It doesn't do anything, isn't useful in any way, but you know, that's something to do. There's a big door here, and Momo is going to sacrifice himself so that we can get through the door, and this annoyed me because I thought he was going to make a big heroic comeback later on, and this is actually the last we see of him in the game until the very, very end, and it felt like to me they were setting him up for a big heroic comeback later on, which just never happened. But yeah, he's going to open the door and let us progress. So interact with him. One very small note is that you can see B12 obviously has his lights function, and pretty much all times I'm going to have that active. That's both A, so that I can see better, and also because to interact, so B12 translates all of the robot's text and stuff, but he's usually kept in the backpack that the cat has, and him coming out of its backpack to translate stuff loses about half a second every time it happens, but by keeping the lights on, you skip him having to come out of the backpack, so it saves about half a second every time you have to speak with the robots, which over the course of the whole run adds up to a fairly significant amount. We've got some more platform here. This level is home to the most dreaded skip in the any percent run. Sleep paralysis is technically more precise, but it has a very consistent setup for it. There's a skip in this level called Water Run, which is, I mean, I think every single runner of this game has changed their setup for it at least 100 times, and nobody, as of yet, has completely consistent setup for it. It is because of a particular thing that can happen with it, which soft locks you if it happens. I mean, I say soft locks, we can restart the checkpoint, so it's not like, you know, can't progress, but yeah, it's very, very dreaded among any percent runners. You can see here again that was meant to be another sort of chase sequence. You're meant to use B12's lights to take them out, but we can just use the macro and just meow away any potential zerks. So this is Water Run time, and I'm going to pray that this wants to work. So I'm going to jump onto this barrel, look at particular points on it. Oh. Do this again. Jump in the barrel, look at the particular points in the pipe in front of me. Going to teleport me back. I'm going to jump back on the pipe. And nice, okay. So this is, I'm running in the water now, hence the name of Water Run. This is a successful attempt. What happens if it doesn't work is that you get stuck on the barrel, or on the pipe rather, and even if you jump off the pipe, you're teleported right back onto it and you're soft locked basically. And it's a huge run kill if that happens. The main time save of Water Run comes from skipping a cutscene, which is about, it's like 30 or 40 seconds long, so it's quite significant. But yeah, if Water Run just doesn't want to cooperate, then I mean, that's pretty much GG's for your run. I said it, but I'm really thankful. I said it doesn't look like anything happened there, but I'm really thankful that worked first try, because we could have been there for like literally a couple of minutes with me just restarting it over and over again to get it. So thankfully that works first try. We have another chase sequence here. In the cutscene that we skipped, B12 is meant to be destroyed. But obviously we skipped the cutscenes, we still have a completely functional B12 with us now. And he's just going to become randomly broken in this upcoming section, with seemingly nothing happening. I'm going to reload checkpoint here as soon as I get it. And that's just to prevent, not exactly a soft lock, but it's to make B12 fully functional again. From Water Run, which sort of messes up his programming otherwise. Jump into the event. And then the second cutscene skip is coming up. So we finally escaped the really Zerk-infested sewers, and we are entering into Ant Village. This is the second sort of, it's not quite as big as the last big open area, but there's still some optional stuff to do here. But again, we're going to skip all of it. That's the second cutscene skip of the run, and that one's more significant. That one saves like 20 or 30 seconds or so. And we get to a cutscene here. B12 right now is sort of, this is his whole sort of he's in a rut phase because he's realizing that he's not really, you know, he's sort of realizing that he's actually a human who's been who's had his consciousness transplanted into this toy robot thing. But now that he's sort of over that, we can continue on our way, and we are heading on into Midtown. As soon as we get a bit more platforming. There's a very small detail here. During this transition fade into Midtown, I'm going to be holding forward, and for whatever reason that makes this black screen load 1 second faster for some reason. And we enter into Midtown. So Midtown is the third really big open area, and it's also probably the most complicated split in the game. We have the third cutscene skip of the run there, and everything's focused around this train that we're running through here. This train is going to take us to the control room, which should let us escape the city. But to get the train working, we need a battery, and to get the battery, we have to get 2 pieces of clothing, which are going to act as a disguise. So we need to get a jacket, and we need to get a hat. The hat we can get really easily here by getting up to this gate, looking at a particular direction, and hopefully, if the cat wants to go the right way, flip through the gates and activate that, so that we can open the gates and just get the hat without actually having to do the small like side quest to get it. The jacket we're just going to have to get the intended way, which involves destroying 3 cameras throughout this sort of courtyard area. That's camera number 1. There's camera number 2. And we're not going to destroy the 3rd camera just yet, and that's because we have to interact with a character called Clementine in this area as well. So we're just going to interact with her quickly before we destroy the 3rd camera. So this is a hideout, and she's about to assault us with the Pixar lamp. And we hand her a note, which basically says we're good. It's a recommendation from, I believe it's Momo, who basically says, the cat's on our side, so help him out. And now over here, now we destroy the 3rd camera, jump down, and because we destroyed those cameras, this robot is going to give us a cassette tape. So now we want to take this cassette tape and into this shop and play it on a jukebox, which is going to distract the shop owner enough that we can steal the jacket right from under his nose, like that. And now we take the clothing over to this character. We hand him the same note that we gave Clementine to tell him we're part of, we're on the good side. And then we hand him both pieces of clothing. And he's now going to disguise himself as a worker at a factory where the battery that we need is held, and he's going to very craftily put the cat inside of the box and then take us into the factory like this. This character's name is Blazer, very creatively, because his normal clothing is a blazer, and thankfully the inspector here doesn't look too closely to realise there is actually a cat inside of the box, so that we can jump out and be on our way. This section is meant to be a sort of stealth sequence. You can see here there are all of these sort of guardian robots about with these like detection sensor things. You don't have to worry about them at all. You can just get detected as much as you want, and as long as you sort of know the correct path to go, you'll never ever get shot. So I'm just going to allow myself to be detected as much as I want, and it won't matter. There's an upcoming section in the next level where it does matter a bit more, but for right now, we can just get detected. It doesn't matter at all. So, get into this barrel, and so there were 3 buttons that we need to hold down here to get access to the battery there. This is meant to be a puzzle involving these 3, not sure what to call them, these 3 sort of moving block things. We're going to be doing a very small skip so that we don't only have to do half of the puzzle, but we're going to get 2 moving block things. We're going to take the second one over here like this. Activate it like this, and then into the barrel and take its So the barrel, the intended solution to this is you take the barrel and you activate that button with it. And you take that machine and you activate this button with it. But you can actually just about grab. Right. Oh wait, no, I didn't get it. Okay. You can just about grab the battery as it's moving upwards, so you don't have to hold down all 3 buttons. Thankfully. So we get another chance to spin the cat as fast as we can. There we go. And now we have to head on back to Clementine's room, so that we can inform her that we have the battery, except for the fact that, well, we're going to see here, the Sentinels and Guardians have sort of caught on to what we're doing here, and so they've cordoned off this whole section. But again, I mean, we're just going to get spotted, and it doesn't matter for us. The AIs are not the greatest, and they're not the greatest shots, so we're just going to run past all of them. Get back to Clementine's room. So she's left, Clementine has abandoned her room, but she's left 4 notes around the room to let us know where she's going. In the any percent speed run, we don't end up going to a hiding place anyway, we skip it, but we still have to get all of the 4 notes so that we can actually progress. So that's 3 notes, and then the final one is up here. Then I need to restart checkpoint. This restart checkpoint isn't necessary per se, but it resets the Sentinel's pathing. That just makes it, even though I said they're not a threat, that particular one over there is actually a threat. All of the other ones aren't though. So we jump down here. So Clementine's notes have told us to go to a nightclub in the city. I don't particularly fancy clubbing right now. It's a bit early in the morning for that, so I think that instead I'm going to get up into the window. I'm going to just jump out the other way, and so the game now expects us to be in the nightclub, but it has deloaded, so it's deloaded everything outside of the nightclub, which lets us get into this sort of small corner here, and eventually the game will let us fall through the floor like this. And that skips the entire nightclub section and also the beginning of the jail section. The cat is meant to be stuck in the cage down there, but we skip that sequence. And also the entire nightclub section, so we can get into the jail nice and quickly. So the reason we're even in a jail is because Clementine is meant to have been betrayed by a character, but obviously we don't see that, but Clementine is still going to be locked up here. At the beginning of jail, I guess it's sort of the end of the nightclub section, B12 is meant to be locked up, but we skip that, so we still have access to B12 here, and we're going to be doing a little bit of trickery with B12 and Clementine's AI. Because the game does not expect us to have him here. But first of all, we need to grab this key so that we can actually get Clementine out of her cage here. As soon as Clementine has opened her cage and she starts moving, I'm going to use this meet function here, and this gets her to start moving more quickly here. Initially, she is meant to sort of take a few seconds to look around and get her bearings there, but we're using B12 to interact with her, so it sort of glitches her AI to get her moving instantly. Now, her AI is just not the greatest in general, and so I sort of need to be looking at her to get her moving here, so that we can get her to the cutscene trigger. She likes to just stop randomly like that before she starts moving again, but eventually she'll make it over here to the cutscene trigger. So there are actually 2 B12s loaded in right now. There's the one in the cat's backpack, and then there's obviously the B12 in the cage down there, and that's where B12 is meant to end up. But obviously, because of the nightclub skip, we still have access to him. Unfortunately, we still have to rescue B12 here, even though we already have him in the cat's backpack. The game won't let us progress if we don't do the rescue sequence. So yeah, Clementine's just telling us to go down there, rescue B12. As soon as this cutscene ends, I'm going to interact with her again. That's going to get her to start move it, or get her to open this door instantly without actually having to walk over to it. Then I'm going to interact with this door with B12, which will get Clementine to teleport down here to activate the cutscene that we need to start the next sequence. This is the proper rescue B12 sequence. So this is where the Sentinels can pose a little bit of a threat if you're not careful. I'm going to play this quite safely. You can see here there are also lasers that we need to avoid. I did a meow there to trick the Sentinel into looking the other way. Activate this lever, and then there's meant to be a cutscene here, but you still retain control during it, and so you can actually make it all the way over to B12 during it and pick him up. Go through here, and hopefully this Sentinel doesn't shoot me. Thank you, again. And bring B12 back to Clementine. Yeah, so I didn't mention it, but that previous section soft locks if you die in it. And usually I have safety saves, but I don't for this marathon. And so I was playing that particularly cautiously to avoid dying, because that would have been quite bad. I would have had to redo the entire jail beginning. Thankfully, we're past the soft locking section of this game, and it's all relatively smooth sailing from here. So we just have to knock down some bricks there to alert Clementine to them. I'm not particularly well practiced in this, but I'll try it. As soon as Clementine crouches down to let us jump through the window there, there's a setup so that you can jump on her head and not have to watch. I messed it up. Not have to watch this animation where she uncrouches. It only saves a second, but it's relatively recently a consistent setup was found for it. Okay. So I've just about had enough of these Sentinels shooting at us, so I think it's about time that we lock up these Sentinels ourselves. So this section, we have to alert these Sentinels to us and then lock them up in these cages. That particular one is surprisingly finicky. His AI is just not designed very well. He does not like to go into the cage, even if he's given a direct path into it. The next section, we're going to have 2 Sentinels, and it's actually more consistent than the previous one. Usually because you just happen to get the sort of correct cycle here, where you can get both of them looking at you instantly. You activate the door, take this route, and get them locked up nice and easily. So as we wait for Clementine here, you can see here there were all sorts of other inmates and stuff, but again, we don't have time to interact with them. We're just going to wait for Clementine to open this door so we can move on. Open this door for her to come through. So we have to alert her to this car over here. And she very rudely decides that she should be the one driving the car instead of us. I personally would have liked to see the cats driving the car, but she decides she should be the one driving herself. So we get onto the back, and there's meant to be another chase sequence here after we open this gate. But you can actually get back onto the car fast enough that the chase sequence doesn't activate. The car's going to start driving away from us now, and we're just going to hightail it as fast as we can to it, and hopefully jump onto it before the chase sequence actually starts. Just like that. So we're meant to be chasing it all throughout this tunnel, and we're meant to be chased by Zerks, but you can get onto it, get onto the car before that whole sequence happens. During my casual playthrough, I accidentally did that. I didn't know there was meant to be a chase sequence there at all. Yeah, I accidentally did the speedrun strat in my casual playthrough for this game. So finally, we finally sort of got everything. We finally got the battery, which we still need, still trying to gather for the train right from the beginning of Midtown. Clementine gives us some keys to activate the train, and finally we can go ahead and activate the train and be on our way to the control room. So back through the train and input the battery to start it up. I really like the music in this section. This is when you know you're on a serious run. Is when you start to hear this music. So although we didn't get to drive the car before, we do get our redemption here, and we do actually get to drive the train here. You don't get to see it because of the camera angle, but I can assure you that it is the cats operating the train here. You can see here. I promise you, it is actually the cat behind the scenes here. Do you have something you want to say? Now's a good time for it.
Yes, indeed. We have a £10 donation from Sweetola, who says, "This is a very smart cat, and this goes towards the final boss character choice for Diddy Kong Racing, Conker." So Conker will still be in the lead at this point. And one reminder, don't forget, if you have Twitch Prime, you get a free subscription to a channel. If you'd like to support the channel and the event, go ahead and use your sub here.
Oh, nice. So we finally made it into the control room. We've got the train working, and we're in the control room. There's a very small thing here with these stairs, whereby looking at them at a particular angle, we can get a boost up them. So get onto the side here, look at it like that, and we get a very small boost. It only works on those ratings and not these ones for whatever reason. Yeah. We have one final moving robot thing to save the day. This moving robot thing is going to let us activate no clip. So we're going to set it up by this door. We're going to push it through it and then jump onto it. And it's just going to take us right through that door nice and easily. The final cutscene skip of the run is right there. And this is the final little section of the run. This is my second least favourite bit of movements in the game. B12 is going to activate this console, and then there are various keyboards that we have to activate for him. And it's yeah, very, very finicky movements like that. You can very easily step on a keyboard you're not meant to. Activate all of the keyboards for him. And then B12 is going to tell us that there are 3 consoles that we have to hack. Typically, you would just do this the normal way, where you hack a console, and a B12 is going to get sort of progressively weaker each time you do that. We're going to do a small cutscene, not really a cutscene skip, but we're going to overlap 2 cutscenes here. I'm going to mess up the wiring for the first console, but I'm not actually going to hack it yet, so I'm going to head over to the second one, push over this plank, and then mess up its wiring. And then hack this console first. So we can see here, we're going to get a cutscene here with B12 sort of buying himself, and he's going to get progressively weaker HP when he does that, but we're going to buffer the dialogue and then run towards this one, and then this overlaps two cutscenes at once, and it's slightly faster than having to watch both cutscenes separately. So that's 2 consoles hacked, and then just 1 console left, which we just have to do the normal way. Let's up the wiring for it and hack the console. And B12 is pretty much used up all of his energy. We have to take him manually over to the final console here so that he can activate the exits. Yeah, very emotional moment as B12 sacrificed himself to let us and hopefully every other robot in the city out. 07 B12. I don't know. I might have just missed this. I didn't realise that the big sort of sky of the city isn't actually a sky. It's just a bunch of lights that I thought it was just like a regular sky, but it's actually just a huge ceiling with lights, and so that's going to open up soon enough and let in a bunch of sunlight across the entire city. Thankfully, all of the Zerks are allergic to the sunlight, I guess, and so this also very conveniently gets rid of all of the Zerks in the city, and doesn't affect the robots at all. We're going to see them all bursting here. And we get a final montage of all of the characters that we met and interacted with across the game. I mean, as I said in the speedrun, some of them we never saw at all, but you know, in theory, all of the characters you're meant to have interacted with. Oh, and the sunlight also deactivates the turrets for some reason. Okay. But of course, there's still us, the cats, and we're going to make one final dash for the exits. Why the cat can't take B12 with him, I don't know, but we just leave him there and head towards the exit. There's one very small final thing here. We're going to be running up some stairs, and you're meant to be locked at walking speed here. But there's one jump bump that you can get off right at the end here, which saves a very, very small amount of walking. Just like that. But otherwise, we're going to head up these stairs, and time will be as soon as we get to the top of the stairs. So let's say time will be in 3, 2, 1, and that is time. Thank you. Yeah, so the cats now, it also annoys me here at the end that the cat doesn't reunite with the cat friends from the beginning of the game. But c'est la vie. In the sequel, I'm sure that will happen. I'm sure that's what the sequel is about. Yeah, I mean, that was Stray any percent. I think it's a super fun run. Cool glitches, it's cool movements. I just want to say, this is outside of my typical wheelhouse for speedrunning. Stray in general, I tend to be more of a horror FPS speedrunner. I initially learnt Stray for another marathon called Speedrunner, where the idea is that you get assigned a random game and you have to learn it and then run it for the marathon, and that's the reason I learnt Stray. And I liked it enough to actually get a decent time in it, and I'm obviously here running it for you now at a different marathon. This is a weird experience for me running in the morning instead of like at 2 AM as part of the horror block. So yeah, I just want to say, I mean, thank you to the community, thank you to the people at Speedrunner. Yeah, thank you to the people at UKSG for organising it. It's been really fun. Yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. And thank you, Draiga, for that run. You did fantastically well, so don't sell yourself short. Pat yourself on the back here. Now the next run we're gonna be setting up for is a race in Mickey's Ultimate Challenge between Darkshox and Howlin' Mad Mike. Reminder that you can still donate towards various incentives. Firstly, a character choice bid war for Sonic Mania later, which Amy Rose is still currently winning by £140, with second place being Blaze the Cat, £104. So there's still somewhere in it. And Diddy Kong Racing final boss character choice, Conker is still winning by £24, with second place being Banjo for 10. So get your donations in, and we will see you in the next run.